Howdy, brothers and sisters out there in YouTube land. This here's Grateful Panic, and I've got another video for you guys today. And today we're going to be taking a look at this guy right here, and when it's time to get down to it, I'll let you know what that is. But for now, let's go ahead and get this panic dump out of the way and let you guys take a look at what I was carrying today. And today in my pocket, I had the Spyderco Manix 2 lightweight, and in my Holiday Leatherworks organizer, I had the Great Eastern Cutlery number 85 bullet end jack and my fancy schmancy pen. And I also had the Holiday Leatherworks minimalist wallet, and I'm loving those guys right there. And as far as on my belt, I didn't have a darn thing on my belt today. It was Saturday. I was really chilling around the house. Didn't have a lot going on, so I just kept it light and easy breezy. And that takes us right on to the what am I drinking segment. And today I'm drinking on a little bit of the Green Bench Sunshine City India Pale Ale, and that's definitely some good stuff. Let's go ahead and crack that guy open and get down to business. And with all that being said, guys, it's time to get down to the nitty-gritty. And before we get to the meat and taters of this here knife, I'm going to give you guys get the boring stuff out of the way and give you guys some measurements, weights, and materials. And what we're reviewing today, guys, is the Bastion Knives Barlow, and this is the Cutlery Lover edition. And this knife was designed by Jeff Smith, who has the YouTube channel Cutlery Lover, and I think he did a really good job. There's one little flaw that I'm a bit concerned about, but other than that, this is a really cool knife. And it was a limited edition run, so there's not a lot of information on the internet as far as the specs, so I'm just going to go ahead and do it the old school way and break the old tape measure out and give you guys some measurements that way. So what we're looking at is a closed length of 3 1/4 inches, and on the flipper blade we have a fully open length of 5 3/4 inches. We've got a full blade length of 2 1/2 inches and a cutting edge of right around 2 1/4 inches. And with the slip joint spear point blade, we have a fully open length of let's flip it around this way. We got 5 5/8 inches. We've got a blade length of 2 1/2 inches and a cutting edge of 2 1/4 inches. And let's go ahead and get you guys a weight on this knife, providing that our semi-trusty scale works, and it does. And we've got a weight of 3 1/2 ounces, and for our friends across the pond, 98 grams. And material wise, we've got G10 handle scales, we've got stainless steel bolsters, stainless steel hardware all the way around. Got a nice little lanyard hole right here. We've got stainless steel back springs, stainless steel liners. We've got stainless steel pivot pin with an adjustable Torx head screw right here. Blade steel wise, we've got blade steel of S35VN. The flipper is a liner lock, and the slip joint is, just that, a slip joint. There is no locking mechanism. And I know when I first kind of showed this guy in the mail call portion of a video, it seemed like the slip joint was a little hard to open, and it wasn't that. It was literally when I went to open the slip joint blade, my thumbnail broke, so I had no thumbnail to pull it open with. So I mean, it's totally easy to open, as you can see there. There is no half stop though, but we'll get to that later. Let's go ahead and start with the flipper blade. I would call this a very severe drop point blade. It's a satin finish. It's got a high, well, semi-high. It's kind of a saber flat grind with a nice swedge here on the spine. You got a nice little thumb ramp here. There is no jimping on it, but it's a nice little thumb ramp. And like I said earlier, it is a liner lock. And it's got some great action. I'm pretty sure, I'm not positive because like I said, there's not a lot of information on this guy online, but just from what I can see and feel, I feel like it's running on bearings. It's got some really, really great action here. And ergonomics wise, with that guy open, it's pretty great in hand. You got a nice with the width of this handle, which I didn't measure that in the measurements, but we're looking at 5/8 of an inch wide, so that's a pretty darn decently wide handle there. And you've got some nice purchase, even though it's not a very long handle. You got enough to grab onto, and with that thumb ramp right there, it's got some pretty darn good ergonomics. And with the slip joint blade, and this is where we run into a little bit of a problem, and I don't know if he just didn't think about this in the design phase, but I have a tiny bit of a problem with this. When you're using the slip joint blade, you've got this flipper tab sticking up here, so I mean there's no comfortable place to put your thumb when you're using that blade, and that kind of bothers me a little bit, because I don't know if you guys are the same as I am, but basically any kind of knife I'm using, whether it be slip joint or a modern folder or even a fixed blade, when I'm holding this in my hand, my thumb naturally goes right here to the spine of the blade, and I really can't do that with the flipper tab. There's no comfortable way to use it. I mean, you can use it in a hammer grip, like that, but that's not my natural grip when I initially go to use a knife. I mean, a lot of times I end up in a pinch grip, and that's comfortable with this guy, but initially when I go to use the knife, my thumb naturally goes right there, and I can't put it there because of that flipper tab. And so I feel like, me personally, if I were to have designed this knife, or if I could make a suggestion to Jeff in his design of this knife, is maybe make this blade, the modern folder side of it, thumb stud opening, because, there wouldn't be a flipper tab to get in your way. But other than that, I mean, that's my only drawback. I think it's a great little knife, a great functioning knife. As far as the slip joint blade goes, I would call this a spear point. It is, again, a flat grind. It's a nail nick opening. You got a nice cut swedge here on the spine. It's a really, really attractive little blade. And, if this were my knife, I would really want to use that blade, but I feel like, I can't. And speaking of this not being my knife, this knife is on loan from a Grateful Panic family member, Brother Bruce, and I really, really appreciate him loaning me this knife, because when I found out that this was coming out, I was not in a position to purchase it. Otherwise, I would have. And I've really, really been wanting to get my hands on this because I wanted to, check out what Jeff designed. And, like I said, other than that little snafu with the flipper tab getting in the way, this is a very, very awesome knife. I mean, the walk and talk on the slip joint is awesome. I mean, that snap closing, I don't know if you can hear that. I hope you can. But, I mean, that is just awesome. And even the snap opening, it's just a really, really pleasant sound. And the walk is so smooth. I mean, it's just a very, very smooth action on both blades. And that's, that's just very, very snappy. Very, very pleasant. I mean, it's just an awesome knife to have in hand, an awesome knife to experience, and a very useful knife, except for that whole flipper tab issue. And that's my only drawback with this. And to me, it's kind of a big issue, because it kind of makes the slip joint blade it's not usable, because I mean, you either have to kind of choke back way back here to use it, or use it in another grip. But to me, if you're going to use a knife, it should be comfortable in any way you put your hand. So I mean, and that's just me. And I mean, overall, it's a great knife. I think it's absolutely awesome. It's very well built. The materials are awesome. It's a good weight. I mean, it's just a really, really cool concept, and I dig it. I mean, I don't know if you can see this, but the centering on both blades is absolutely perfect. I mean, there's no gaps. The fit and finish is phenomenal on this knife. And I think if they fix that little issue right there, I mean, this would be an A+ knife. And even with that little issue, this knife definitely gets the Grateful Panic seal of approval, which, as we all know, is 1 3/4 thumbs up. So, yeah, I would totally, if you were to run across this knife for sale, I would totally recommend you buying it, because it's just a cool thing to have. It's cool that a member of the knife community and a YouTube reviewer designed this knife. I think that's just totally awesome. I think it's just amazing that a knife company collaborated with a YouTube reviewer and said, hey, design us a knife and we'll put it out there. I mean, yeah, it was a limited edition type thing. I think Bruce told me there was 500 made, and I think he said that it was either 400 or 300 in the 5CR blade steel, and then it was either 200 or 100 in the S35VN blade steel. But I think that was totally awesome that they did that. And if this was available right now, I would totally snatch one up, because I think it's a cool thing to have. As far as usefulness, if you're using the flipper blade, yeah, it's totally useful. I mean, the ergonomics are great. It feels great in hand. It's a great blade steel. But I'm just really hung up on the fact that that tab gets in the way when you're trying to use the slip joint blade. But still, like I said, I'd definitely give it my seal of approval. So again, thank you, Bruce, brother Bruce, for the awesomely generous loan of this knife. Um, and thank you, Grateful Panic family, for all your subscriptions, your likes, your comments. I appreciate everything that you guys do. I appreciate each and every one of you. And with that being said, guys, this is Grateful Panic signing off. And remember, guys, stay alert, stay alive, and hey, how about do something nice for somebody today? Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.